Guru, and today we don't have a hard stop, so it gives us flexibility to get into our devotional segment and have a bit of a extended conversation if we need to. All right, are you able to see my screen? Great.
Yes.
So let's get started with our opening prayers, like we always do, by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanurmardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to all of you. Welcome again to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So the opening prayers, we pay our obeisance to Guru and God. Krishna is the original Jagat Guru, and we pay our obeisance and to Guru as well, because Guru is the one who not only provides us knowledge, that is why he's called Brahma, but also maintains it by doing Yogakshem, that is why he's called Vishnu, and also dispels our ignorance, destroys our ignorance, and that is where he takes on the role of an annihilator of ignorance, and called Shivji. Okay, so that is the meaning of this verse, where we equate Guru to Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and we take his blessings, and it's only because of Guru that we are able to have this discussion, or this knowledge is presented to us. So let's move on. So chapter 4, verse 10 is where we had left off, taken a lot of detours. Now we are back. Now we are going to change the strategy in the sense that we will continue to progress verse by verse like we always do. Having said that, we will pick up stuff within the verse and take that opportunity to revise key concepts, but we'll keep on making progress. Previously, we went all the way back to chapter 2 and then started picking up from there. But now the key concepts as they present during the shloka, which is going to happen pretty frequently, we will pick it up, but we'll continue to progress on shloka by shloka from chapter 4 onwards. So let's take on the shloka. All the shlokas are important. So this one, we are going to take this opportunity to tell why Lord Krishna is a master psychologist, okay? And get to know thyself, how your brain operates, how your mind operates, and what is the secret to everlasting peace, which God is going to talk about. So I'm going to recite this shloka and you are welcome to follow along. Vitaraga bhaya krodha Manmaya mamupashritaha Bahavo jnana tapasa Uta madbhavamagataha. All right. So let's take a few participants and get the discussion going.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Vitarag bhaya krodha Manmaya mahamupashritaha Bahavo jnana tapasa Uta madbhavamagataha.
Nice, thank you.
Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo gnana tapasa puta madbhavamagata. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Dinesh. Radhe Radhe. We'll take the remaining hands too.
Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha.
Very nice. Thank you, Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe, Shyam ji, please go ahead.
Shyam ji.
Radhe. Vitaraga bhaye krodha Manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapsa Bhuta madbhava magataha. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, thank you.
Prabhatji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे वितराग भय क्रोधा मम्या मामुपाश्रिता भावो बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भाव मागता.
Very nice, thank you, Prabhat.
Samji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
We have last 3 hands. Let's take those and then we'll get started.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sanjay.
Vitaraga Vyakrodha Manmaya Mamu Pasitan Behvo Gyan Tapsa Uta Madbhavam Magata. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, very nice, thank you, Sanchi. Last, but one hand, and then
Rahulji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे वीतराग भय क्रोध मन्मया मामुपाश्रिता बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भाव मागता. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe. I see Manvita. Welcome to the session, Manvita. Please go ahead. You want to recite it?
Manvita, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. Vitaragavaya krodha manmaya mam upashritaha bhavaho jnana tapasa bhutam madbhavamagataha.
Very nice, Manvita. You get the best debut award today. Thank you. All right. So last but not the least, Riyaji, please go ahead.
Riyaji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Riyaji.
Vitaragha bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavam agataha.
Very nice. Thank you, Riyaji. So let's get started. This shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, being free from attachment, fear, and anger. I was introducing 3 things: attachment, fear, and anger. Each one of these could be a topic in itself. However, we'll try to do justice to it as best as we can. Becoming fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me. So he's saying that, okay, first of all, you need to get free from all these. Then he goes on to say, by taking refuge in me, just pay close attention to each word. Many persons in the past, that means there are people who have actually done that. They have become purified by knowledge of me. So when you get knowledge of God, you become purified. Okay, it's a very important thing. So as part of reading Bhagavad Gita, that is also leading to purification because you're gaining knowledge about God. And then what happens as a result, they thus attained my divine love. And divine love is the ultimate prize that we're going to talk about anyways. So that's what he's talking about. So let's get started. Before that, I'll pick up a few questions from participants that they had posted yesterday. So we'll make it a ongoing thing where if you put in a question and it's something we need to bring in, we'll pick it up as well. And I found these 2 interesting as well. Okay, now yesterday we were discussing about reading Bhagavad Gita, why we should be reading Bhagavad Gita, right? Now, if you're not reading Bhagavad Gita and we are using our own manuals in life, own manuals means what we think should be done, how we should go about life. This is what my friends tell me. This is what Google tells me. This is what TV tells me. This is what the movie tells me, or my peers think. Then it is a bit like this. You look at the irony in this picture, and importance of incremental steps cannot be understated. Often we underestimate the power of incremental progress that we can make on a day-to-day basis, like for example attending the sessions and reading Bhagavad Gita on a daily basis, and overestimate basically and underestimate that power of incremental step, and overestimate what is it is needed to actually make a progress. So rather than getting disheartened by a big leap or your mind telling you one day I will make a big leap, no, it's all the small steps that actually lead to the eventual goal. So a couple of questions that came: please explain what is successful life, right? Yesterday we're talking about, we all want to be successful, happy and all that stuff. I mean, it's a pretty open-ended thing. If you look what is success, different people will have different definitions around it. So for some, becoming rich is successful. For some, becoming an IAS is successful. For someone, attaining excellence in their, whatever profession they are in, becoming a CEO, CFO, famous, whatever, that could be successful. But Swamiji has given most beautiful, all-encompassing definition when he says, be good, do good, and feel good. That actually covers pretty much the entire definition of being successful. And it is all related. You cannot do good unless you are good. So you have to become good. That is the first thing. Then only you can do good. And then you cannot feel good unless you have become good. That is also related. So all has to go in an order. And when you do that, then of course that is leading, you are anyway getting closer to the true potential that you have. So that is definition, but we could take this topic again in great detail, but that's a quick definition. And then I think this question was asked, how can I convince my family into participating in the Gita sessions? I don't know, we can convince anybody. We can talk to them. But it's like you can take a horse to water, but can't make them drink. We all are perfectly situated where we need to be, but one of the ways you can influence them is by becoming a role model yourself. When you walk the talk, when they see the difference in you, in your daily, the way you conduct yourself, your behavior, the way you are able to deal with the adversities in life, or when you are presented with stressful situations in life, or when you are, what you call that, really put to test by life. And if they see that you are able to maintain an equipoise and handle that situation, respond rather than react, then the odds of them doing what you are doing or telling what you are saying increase many folds. So we cannot talk somebody into it. Rather, we can be the, we can walk that talk and show them the benefit around it, and then they may get interested by themselves. That is how typically it works. But yeah, we can always try. If somebody's soliciting, looking for it, we can always try to tell them, hey, here's something you can try to build into your routine, and we never know who may start getting benefited from it. Okay, so with that said, let's move on to the topic of our discussion today, the shloka. Okay, so this is the journey. Okay, the journey from here to here is what we are on. Okay, it's a pretty exciting journey. It is the most exciting journey you would ever undertake. Okay, this is a flight that you don't want to miss out on. And so welcome, tighten your seatbelt and just enjoy this ride every day. Let's get on now to the shloka. Now, this starts with Lord Krishna is talking about the concept of attachment. What is this attachment we talk about? Right? Attachment is nothing but something that we create. We are not born with a natural attachment. Right? Child is not attached to the mother until it is repeatedly told it is your mother. We come to know about the relationships in our world. I'm your mother, I'm your father, and I'm going to give you happiness. I'm going to fulfill your self-interest. And that is how we form attachments. It's not something that we are born with naturally. Okay. The kids who, for some reason, get separated from their parents, they will not have attachment because they didn't get that opportunity to develop that thought process around it. So how does the attachment unfold? It is repetitive thoughts. Our mind is a thought generating factory. And when you put your mind to something, telling yourself, this is where my happiness is, this is where my happiness is, we all are seeking happiness, right? It is a irrefutable law that you have to seek happiness. And when your mind puts your thoughts in a particular thing, object, or a person, repetitive thoughts, then what happens is, now, by the way, you say, why would it put, you don't have a choice actually. You have to, your mind is made up of 4 components: Man, Buddhi, Chit, and Ahankar. And the Chit aspect of your mind, all it seeks is to attach to something. It always needs an anchor to attach to. Okay, Chit has to attach to something. And why do we seek happiness? We have spoken about this concept in the past as well. We seek happiness because we are part of the whole. The part always seeks the whole, and we have come from the ocean of happiness, which is God himself. So as a part of that, we naturally gravitate towards happiness. It's an irrefutable law. Nobody seeks misery. A kid, when it is born, it declares to the world, I'm here for happiness, by crying. Why? because it has experienced misery as part of taking birth. So by crying, it is actually alleviating or removing that pain. So now our mind is seeking happiness. It doesn't have a choice. And then you start seeking happiness in things around, things, objects, or people around. That repetitive thought process, like science says, it results in neuroplast, neural channels are formed to that object. You have thought about that thing, right? You see in the school, the guy falls in love with a girl, vice versa. Why does it happen? They keep on contemplating, this thing is going to give me happiness, this thing is going to give me happiness, and they fall for that person. While the other people might be saying, what is so special in that person? But this person is, fallen in love because he's already contemplated, this person is going to give me happiness. This is something I need, right? So that attachment is formed by the repetitive thought process. This is the science or behind it. Now, what happens? You say attachment. So what's the big deal? I formed attachment. So what's the big deal? I'm human. I will get attached. Now, there is a problem that happens. What happens with that attachment? Let's try to understand that. Just give me a sec. I'll bring in that concept too. So attachment in itself may seem innocuous. You say, oh, it's a big deal. I formed my attachment. Now the fun starts happening. Okay. That vicious cycle that we're going to talk about. Now, this attachment, object of attachment, whatever it is, it could be a person, right, whom you want to marry or whom you really want in your life. It could be an object that you're craving for. Or it could be a next big house, could be anything. So that object of attachment, there's a 50-50 probability. You get it, you will get it. You need more of it. It will lead you to greed. Nobody becomes satisfied by having the object of their desire. Right? Like I think Mark Twain or Tom Sawyer, he had said that there are only two disappointments in life. One is desiring something and getting it, and the other one is desiring something and not getting it. So in either case, in the first case, you will need greed. You need more of it. Okay. It will temporarily satiate you, but you have already put fuel to the fire. Has anybody gotten happy after attaining the object of their desire? No, they need more of it. You want to raise the bar. You want to raise the bar to experience the same thrill that you experience with them. That's why a lot of marriages land into trouble. When they start off, it's like saath jiyenge, saath marenge. They raise the bar to such a high level. Every day is a Valentine's Day. And after that, when the life starts catching up on them, the reality sinks in. They said, oh my God, you used to do that and not anymore. And then the other person will say, you know what, I've fallen out of love with you. And these kind of story, drama keeps on repeating. Because we don't have the ability to actually make anybody happy. That's a fact in material world. We'll get into that topic separately. Now, object of attachment, you got a greed. Now, if you don't get your object of attachment, then what happens? You get anger. Okay, this cycle repeats. You get it, you'll get greed. You don't get it, you'll get anger. Okay, it's very clearly explained by Lord Krishna in 2.62 when he says, Dhyayato Vishyan Punsa Sangaste Shupachayate. Right? Sangaste kamat krodho bijayate. Basically, he says when you keep on going for your material objects, it's like putting fuel to fire. And then that will eventually lead to greed and anger. Right? And then anger, what we know what happens and what happens when we keep on falling to this trap. Now, the problem is that with this attachment, there's another thing which gets manifested, fear. Why do we fear something? Don't we fear? We do all fear, right? Some insecurity, some fear is there. What is that fear now? Losing something. Apprehension that the object of our attachment will be snatched away from us. You see how this process is unfold? It started with attachment. Now you have given birth to two problems, the two sons, the greed and then the anger. And now the fear has also started coming in. Right? So where did it all start? It all started with repetitive thought process that this thing is going to give me happiness. Attachment, anger, greed, fear. So fear, and then attachment is the root cause of mind getting dirty. Now we'll talk about this concept of getting the dirty aspect which needs purification. And this leads to rag and dvesh. Rag and dvesh. That is the manifestation of that attachment. Rag and dvesh means I need this, I don't need this. I want this, I want to stay away from this. I need more of this, I need less of this, or I need to stay away. So both are the two sides of the same coin. And that is where Lord Krishna is saying you need to be very careful about it. What you are doing right now is, why does it make our mind dirty is something, there is a technicality behind it, which I'm going to talk about in the subsequent slides. But let's understand how this process unfolds, and eventually it leads to impurification of our mind, which leads us to do karma, which is binding karma. And binding karma is what is responsible to keep on getting us back in this world. Okay. And this vicious cycle is what we keep on following, knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, voluntarily, however we do that. This is the story of our life. I want this, I want to avoid this, I need this, I don't need this. This is something that will give me happiness, and that repetition continues in our head. That self-talk is always going on in our head, which leads to all the complications that we have created for ourselves. It is basically tying ourselves up in knots. Okay. Now let's move on. So dvesha, aversion, raga is hankering, right? And if you look at it, the greed basically coming from hankering, aversion is for things that you want to avoid, which might give you anger. Anytime you have anger, go back to the mother. What is the attachment that is causing that anger? Because somebody is obstructing your desire. That is why you're getting that anger. And anytime you have fear, go back to the root of it. What is my attachment which is giving me this fear? Okay. So this is how the process goes. See, all of this is happening in a few nanoseconds, that this process unfolds in your brain. But see, Bhagavad Gita is telling us how this process actually unfolds in your mind. You need to really understand the dynamics and the fundamentals around it, right? So this is how it goes. Now, the pendulum principle we have spoken about in the past, right? So pendulum principle is, when you go, there's a beautiful share in Hindi, I think, Has ke maine udasi ko dawat de di, something like that. It was there. So when you go to one extreme, actually, you are gaining energy to go on to the other extreme as well. You may say it's okay to enjoy. See, happiness is enjoyable, right? Anybody disagrees? Happiness is enjoyable. But the paradox of life is, in order to get happiness, in striving for happiness, we become unhappy, right? Because our expectation around that happiness. So when you simply learn to tolerate the extremes in your life, extremes means people who go overboard on one side, they go overboard on the other side as well. You will not see somebody who, they will do things, their emotions are excessive on either side. And Krishna is saying, no, that's not good. You need to be more closer to the equilibrium. That will keep your mind stable, and then that will keep it cleaner as well. So we need to learn to tolerate. Now you will say tolerating pain is understand. What does tolerate happiness means? Tolerating happiness means, first of all, it is pleasure, not truly happiness. Happiness is a very deep concept. It is a pleasure with an understanding that this is also transient. Transient means just like sun rises and sets, similarly, these feelings will come and go like weather does. Summer comes, winter comes, everything passes. So these feelings are very transient. They will go away. So you simply learn to tolerate. When something good is happening, just have a gratitude to God. Okay, that is fine, but I'm not going to excessively indulge by thinking and having that attitude that I'm going to enjoy the, to the max and stuff like that. And same thing on the pain side, where you are devastated and start blaming things around, become bitter, become depressed. It's obligatory on you to beat both of these extreme emotions with proper knowledge, is what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. Okay, which is the pendulum principle, where you get closer to the stability as opposed to swinging widely on either side. Okay, so this is again stated in 2.5, where Lord Krishna is saying that person who's not affected by happiness and distress and remains steady in both becomes eligible for liberation. Now, if you don't want liberation, okay, we want to go beyond liberation, by the way. But if you don't want to get closer to the real happiness, then we continue to ride these emotions. But if we really want, we need to learn to tolerate both with an understanding that they are transient, they are temporary, and I cannot hold on to either one of these forever. Right? Our mind has a resilience to get back to its normal state. When it becomes agitated, we think it is happiness. It's actually becoming agitated, right? People go to parties, take tequila shots and dance their way to glory. That is not truly happiness. It is an agitated state of mind that they think is happiness. Happiness is much deeper concept. Okay. So let's move on this concept. Now, how do we get over our lower nature? Okay, this is the concept. We need to conquer our lower nature like, see, we are on 410, and I want to again reiterate to pretty much everybody here that one of the things that I'm hearing is that we need to continue to make progress. So yes, we'll do that. We'll continue to gain range, but I'll take opportunity to introduce the fundamental concepts as they present without really going back to the chapter. So we'll continue to make progress, 410, 411, and so on. But having said that, all the fundamental concepts as they present the opportunity, we will revisit it as part of that shloka only. Okay, so that we have all the fundamentals sorted out as we continue to progress on this journey. So spirituality is all about conquering our lower nature with our higher nature. We have two dogs, right? Somebody was telling we have two dogs inside us, a good one and a bad one. Whichever one we feed more will continue to become stronger. Okay, so if I were to equate it to our nature here, the lower nature is the bad dog, and the good nature is the higher nature is a good dog. Now, lower nature, it has to be conquered by purifying the mind. And now, how does the mind get purified? That's a question, right? Logically, our mind needs to be cleansed for us to get over our lower nature. And lower nature is what leads us to greed, anger, fear, anxiety, stress, envy, all the negative emotions, bitterness, resentment. All these emotions are born out of our lower nature. And how do we subdue it, substitute it, dilute it, sublimate it with higher nature is the real thing, right? So let's talk about it. Our scriptures say that our mind, it's subtle, right? Mind is subtle. It's not this, it is a hardware. Mind is ethereal heart. They said that our mind, if we were to equate it to something physical that we can relate to, consider it as a very, very old cloth, old and a dirty cloth. Why old? Because we have existed ever since God has existed. So we are super old. Soul, if you go by souls, you don't go by your biological or physical age. This is one of the many births that we have taken. Our soul is coming in from since time immemorial. So we are very, very old. Okay. Now we are old and we have been rotating in this vicious cycle of attachment, greed, anger, fear, all that stuff. And that is why we are repeating here. That's what our scriptures are saying. Manev manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Panchadashi states that. Mind only is making us repeat. So that mind has taken on all these impressions from time immemorial. And because of that, if we were to equate it, it is like that dirty laundry cloth that you put, which is very old and very dirty. Okay, that is how our mind is. And spirituality is about cleaning it. Now, how do you clean a dirty, old, dirty cloth? By applying detergent to it, right? You apply detergent to it and clean water to it. When you apply detergent and clean water, it will become clean, right? This is the process that follows. Similarly, if we were to look at it from our mind standpoint, mind is the governor of our senses. So mind is telling our senses to go for the sense objects. It sanctions, it gives it the approval, go for it. Then only your senses go there. So it is taking on all the impressions across lifetimes through the senses, which are called Gyan Indriyas, 5 senses that we have. So it is taking on those. Yes, Tarunji, you had a question?
Radhe Radhe,
Yeah.
Taranji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yeah, just want to verify that the mind is considered part of the body senses. So it does not transmigrate over the lives, after the lives.
Mind is not. Mind is considered a sixth sense.
Yeah, so I mean it don't transmigrate after the life. It remains only within one life. So
no,
the impression.
No.
Okay.
Mind, you will repeat with the same mind whenever you're born as a human next. Okay. It is part of the subtle body that travels with the soul. So whatever mind, whatever chitta vrittis, whatever sanskars you have right now, let's say you are somebody who's very strong-willed. Okay. And let's say you have conquered anger 50%, 60%, 70%, right? Or let's say you have a huge problem of procrastination in your mind. You don't get reset like our computer gets reset. You are born with the same mind in your next life. So all those things are part of our subtle body. They travel with the soul. There's no get ridden. That's why I'm saying In spirituality, it's like homework that you have to do on your mind. The more you have cleansed it in this life, the lesser homework is there for you in the next life. And more dirty you have made it, the more you have to climb over it in your next life. So that is why we got to be very careful about tending to our sanskars and the choices that we are making. Mind does not get reset. You will still repeat with the same mind, right? When you sleep, you wake up the next day, you don't change. Similarly, consider as shedding this gross body, which we call as death. It's simply, mind is not going anywhere. You will still be where you started off with. Okay, same mind you'll have to deal with. That is how it goes. Yes, Shalini ji, you had a question too. So now your mind, yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Shalini ji, please go ahead. I have unmuted.
Yes, okay, I'm unmuted now. Thank you. So Radhe Radhe, so I have a follow-up question on this. So you're saying that we carry the same mind, through our incarnations, but we can exercise mind only in the human body, right? If we are, let's say, in other form, other body, then they don't have discretion to exercise,
Very
like if you're
true.
a cat or a dog or anything, right?
True.
So we have to wait for
Yes.
to be born again in the human life.
Very true. Whenever you get human life, which is not guaranteed, by the way, that's
Correct.
when you again go with the same thing. And that is where Lord Krishna has also said that whatever spiritual progress you have made, he will make sure he'll preserve it for you. Okay, so that will be given to you as a gift in your next human life. Okay, and he preserves it for you. But there's no change in your mind. You still have to deal with the same mind. So whatever chitta vritti you have standard, that's why we see that a lot of kids who are born in the same family, they might be twins, similar circumstances, situations, but different tendencies altogether, because they're born with their previous sanskars. And that is something which God has given you. So whatever work you have done on yourself, it is a gift you are giving to yourself only. So let's say you have conquered, you have gained certain spiritual assets, such as forgiving people, letting go of things, and then, working on your anger, becoming mindful, developing witness consciousness. All those will be given to you as a gift by God in your next lifetime. So there is no riddance of from whatever sanskars that we have, and it is stored in Chit. Brahmaji has a technology to give it to you in every lifetime. So let's understand, it's a very important concept in spirituality, because we think no matter what we do, it's okay. No, it is not okay. Every decision, every thought, every action has a long-term ramification. So got to be very careful about it. And if we don't tend to our thoughts and our actions, then it is like nurturing or tending to a garden, right? We don't let weeds grow in our garden. Similarly, if we don't tend to our mind, we are actually signing up for, long-term work for ourselves only. So it's like digging a pit for yourself that you'd have to climb over sooner or later. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, why does it become dirty? Let's understand it technically. Okay. It's important to understand when I say dirty, why it becomes dirty and what is the definition of dirty in this case, right? Now, your mind, you really have two options here. One is your material world, right? You can think about material world, which includes your relatives, your friends, family, spouse, kids, house, next gadget you want to have, or next aspiration you have. It's related to world. I'm broadly classifying it, right? It falls into world. The second category is something related to God, right? Whoever your Ishtadev is, that would be your second category. Is there any third category here? There's no third category. Can your mind be in pending state where it's not doing anything? No. So let's understand. It's very technical, very straightforward logic. There are only two areas: Maya, world, or God. There's no third area. Now your mind will give you excuses and reasons. Somebody in Maya is your God. Don't fall for it. Okay, it's your mind playing tricks for you. Okay, whoever that might be. And if that is the case, then you are a Paramhans. Paramhans means people who advance spiritually, they see God everywhere. Okay, and they have to actually step down to operate effectively in this world, because if they see rice and roti as God, they can't even eat. It has happened to sages and saints where they see God in everything. How will they operate? Then they have to step down. From Paramhans, they have to become Hans, where they see material thing and divinity and then operate effectively. So if your mind is telling you, my kid, I see God in him, and I see God in my relative or my brother, sister, husband, wife, it is your mind playing tricks. Okay, you are playing in Maya, you are simply dirtying it. You are wasting your emotions, thoughts, and what you are doing basically is you are taking on the colors of the material world, which fall into these three categories: sattva, rajas, or tamas. Now, the object of your meditation, this is the formula for your mind. Whatever you contemplate deeply upon, that means your object of meditation, that is the color your mind will end up acquiring. Very technical, simple. Whatever you think about, those colors your mind will acquire. And if you are thinking about the world, at best you can acquire sattva. Let's say the person whom you are infatuated with, or object that you care for, or the thing you want to achieve in this world is sattvic. At best you will go to sattva. You cannot go beyond that, because material world is these three colors only, and it is tricolored, and that color is called it. This is all dirty, it is all binding, and that is why we are repeating in this world. At best we might have gone to Swarglok, we might even have become Indra, who knows, might have gone to Brahmalok, who knows, but we are still playing in the material realm. If we attach our mind to something sattvic, it will give us celestial abodes. If we attach our mind to something tamasic, it will give us nether regions. If we are attached our mind to somebody who's a little bit of good, little bit of bad, we repeat in this material world. It's as simple as that. So based on your object of your meditation, meditation means whoever you think of mostly, and that is mostly the world, you acquire those colors, and those colors make it dirty. Okay, so this is why it is. And on the other hand, God is all pure. Okay, the only thing that is pure is God and saints. So when you put your mind to God, it starts purifying. It's like putting stuff to fire. When you put stuff to fire, does fire become dirty? No, the dirty things becomes pure. So our scriptures say, if you have to clean the dirty cloth, you have to take it to something pure. Water has to be clean and detergent has to be applied. And the only thing which is pure, all pure, is God. Only when you meditate on God will your mind get cleansed. All the techniques that you do can bring in mind control. Right? We were talking about vipassana and other things. It will bring in mindfulness, it will bring in focus, and it will bring in clarity. But will it cleanse you of all the impurities of the mind, which includes greed, anger, all that stuff? No. You may diminish it, seeds will still remain. Unless you clean it, bathe it in God, all pure God, nothing will change. The quality of mind will still remain the same. Okay. Temporarily, you can cure that symptom. It's like the sarang bee, they say. When, let's say, a honeybee is chasing you and you get underwater, the honeybee has no access to you because it cannot get inside water. Similarly, when you are doing that meditative practice, you are immune from it. You have gotten underwater. But the moment you come out of it, that will resurface. The honeybee will find you again. Okay. That is why no matter which practice you are doing, if you have not brought God into the mix, it is not going to improve the quality of your mind. It's a very simple logic. Okay. And like in this shloka, Lord is saying, now the divine attachment will not degrade the mind like material attachment. Now you say, okay, does it, if I attach my mind to God, it's a good attachment. All the things that are bad for us in the material world, which dirty our mind, actually become our asset when we dovetail it towards God. It will actually purify it. So when you attach it to all pure God, the mind will also become pure. Now you say, okay, what do I gain by making my mind pure? Okay, it's a valid question, of course, right? So let's see, what do we gain? Do we gain or do we lose? Buddha was asked once, what have you gained through your meditation? He said, I have not gained anything. He said, then why? But he said, I've lost anger, I've lost greed, I've lost envy, I've lost so many things. So sometimes you may want to lose something, but here, let's see what you gain. Okay, what do you gain through meditation or purifying your mind? We are talking about purifying our mind, right? What do we gain? So here you see the attachment. Okay, it could be some other way as well. And attachment and purified mind, what is the correlation between these two? Negative correlation. Your attachment will decrease when your mind will start getting purified, because now you are getting situated in knowledge. You look at that attachment in perspective. Okay. Perspective means, that doesn't mean you become irresponsible. Sometimes people say, oh, if I'm not attached, will I become irresponsible? No, you'll not become irresponsible. In fact, you will be more responsible towards your relationship, because you're not operating out of attachment now. Right? A nurse is able to carry out her duty much better than a mother because mother might feed baby milk when the baby is crying, right? Because out of her attachment, because she can't bear the pain of seeing her baby cry. But nurse will not do that because she's operating out of a sense of her duty, because she's not attached. So she will not feed the baby milk because its stomach is hurting at that point. So when we are not attached, we are able to see things clearly, and we are able to operate more effectively and responsibly when our mind is more purified. Then the second thing, anger. Again, negative correlation. Anger will decrease when you have a purified mind. What else? You talk about fear. One of the Devic qualities you start getting as you start working on your mind, purifying your mind. So these are some of the yardsticks, right? People say, how do I know whether I'm progressing or regressing? It's very simple yardsticks here. To look at it, is it diminishing for you, or are you getting more and more engaged in the world? Are you increasing your world and entanglements, or are you streamlining it? Is your anger going for a toss after started attending Swamiji's lectures and discourses, or is it becoming better than before? These are simple yardstick for yourself. So it's directly related to, it's a function of a purified and a clean mind which is getting cleansed. It will decrease. And what do we stand to gain? This is something we are losing, right? What do we stand to gain? Detachment. Do you have to do detachment? No, it will automatically happen when you have a purified mind. So you don't have to do first detachment, it just happens simultaneously. Detachment means, in order to do bhakti, like Swamiji in Bhakti Shatak was saying, you need people with a little bit of detachment is needed from the world. If you are overly engaged and engrossed in the world, you will not be able to do bhakti, because then you are doing bhakti of world via God. So a bit of detachment is needed. Seeing this world is temporary, so are these relations. My journey is my own journey. So I need to be responsible towards things around me, but at the same time, I need to be sincere about my own journey, because that will matter when we depart from this world, right? This drama will continue to unfold otherwise for other things that we see around. What else do we stand to gain? Attachment, opposite is detachment. The anger, you get peace. You are more at peace. Right? That is the other thing that happens. Like that story that Swamiji talks about, Shankaracharya, somebody came and said, make me your disciple. He said, you have a truti inside of anger. Go to Vrindavan, do some sadhana, and then come back. When he comes back and he tells a sweeper, go throw some kuda on this guy, his head. The moment that was, the sweeper threw some dust, this guy became angry. So Shankaracharya said, you have this anger defect, go back again. Next time also he comes and he said, okay, this time he has worked hard. Now you put some more dust on him and hit him with a jhadu as well. And this time also he becomes angry. I think third time he becomes angry, but he doesn't show, but something which he feels inside his heart. He said, you're still not ready. And the fourth time when the lady does that, he falls to her feet. He said, you are my guru. You have actually made me meet my guru. So the point is, this can happen only, it's only a function of a purified mind. It's like a sneezing. Can you control sneeze? You cannot. So you cannot say, I'm not angry, and inside you're clenching your teeth. How will you not become angry, right? Those buttons somebody presses, you will. But only when we progress spiritually, we have started working on the quality of our mind, we don't even have to put effort. It has automatically started happening. It's like, your threshold will start becoming better. So fearless is another thing that will increase, where you become fearless, more dependent. When you start taking more ashraya of God, your mind is start getting purified. Then you understand things more clearly. And that's when the fearless thing will automatically come in. Shloka 16.3, Lord Krishna is talking about one of the Devic qualities, and the first one he talks about is abhayam. So that fearlessness starts increasing. Is it a unit step function where you will wake up as a fearless person? No, it's a journey, right? So we should not be too hard on ourselves, saying, you know what, I've been reading this for so long and I'm still feeling insecure. It's a journey, but at least we will be taking steps towards that direction and start getting better at it. Right? They say the FIR, the frequency, intensity, and recurrence of your anger, your attachment, and other things will start decreasing. FIR, frequency, intensity, and recurrence. So as long as that is happening, we are on the right path. And that is why it's important. We'll continue on this topic because there are some more facets on it. that I wanted to bring in. But any questions so far on what we have spoken about? It's an important concept of purifying your mind, and how do we purify our mind by attaching to divine. Any questions on this topic, on what we have spoken about so far?
I see
Before-
one hand raised. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Heartbreaker ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yes, Heartbreaker ji.
Yes, please go ahead. Um,
Not able to hear, we can move.
yeah, can't hear you. Vikash ji. Okay. We'll move on to Aparna ji. Radhe Radhe Aparna ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe. I just had a quick thing. See, I don't know if it's completely related. I will be able to do unbiased and focused work if there is no attachment, correct? I have to feel it to prove it to myself, to believe it, right? The first time when we do it is the biggest test, I believe. In some cases, like if a doctor has to do the surgery on his own kid, he himself refuses. But the reason could be, is it because of fear or fear of blame if things don't go right, or is it because he knows he will be attached to the results?
True. So the fear is also born out of attachment, right? The previous slide we spoke about, fear is a symptom. The root cause is attachment for that. When we get fearful, there is some an attachment that is causing that fear, right? So
right.
Same thing happens. The doctor, they don't do those operations of their near and dear ones. If there is too much of attachment, they will call another doctor, one of their friends whom they have a reason to believe are competent. They will call them and say, can you do that? I will not be able to perform this. Because if they are too attached to that thing, you cannot do that. So attachment actually brings down your performance as well. And think of it like this, Apanaji. Every lifetime we build those attachments, not to the same, that bond. It's not to that soul, right? We forget, and then we start building attachment to the next set of people, and then the next set of people, and the next set of people, right? Soul departs on its journey. It's our scar of getting attached that keeps on getting repeated. So
Okay. So I think this is something we have to experience it to believe it. Until then, we just have to trust. Or how does it work? Sorry.
So experience, yeah. See, one thing is, if everything is, we rely on experience alone. See, some of the things, of course, God will make it a realization through some things in life. But if we were to learn through experience everything, then it would take a long time for us to have those realizations, right? So one person says, a wise man says, you know what, this wire that you see carries electricity, don't touch it. So one person says, okay, I have a reason to believe, so I will not touch it. Other person will say, no, I will first touch it and then find it out through my experience. Which one is more smarter? So our scriptures are telling us very clearly, attachment is a cause of so many problems that we face in our life. So we really need to work on that aspect of it by putting the right knowledge that it is a relationship at the bodily level that we are getting stuck at, right? When we talk about, I pray for my family, and it is a good, noble sentiment. But are they truly going to be there with you when you move from this world? Or can you accompany them when they depart from? No. That knowledge keeps on slipping. I don't know why our mind keeps on falling into that trap time and again. So that knowledge has to be brought in every time. That doesn't mean you're not going to care for them. You will still do your duties, right? It's a responsibility God has given us in this life. We'll do that, but not going overboard with that and making it a focal point of our life alone. Because of
that's where we all struggle, I guess. There is like very fine line between dharma, like your duty and
true.
Yes.
Okay. So that happens because our mind is, see, when we attach our mind to God, the detachment automatically follows. You don't have to put an effort. So 10% attached to God, 10% detachment has automatically taken place. 15%, 100%, and then 100% has taken place. So you keep it simple. You do whatever is needed for you to do. But in addition, you start attaching mind to God, building those sentiments, arming yourself with knowledge that he is my true relative, somebody who's going to accompany you lifetime after lifetime, regardless of which species we go into, right? And he's our true well-wisher too. So we arm ourselves with the right knowledge and then start building those sentiments and start progressing on that path. Build that spiritual asset as well, in addition to all the material attachments would automatically be taken care. And that is the power of this knowledge and the fact that what God can do when we start attaching our mind to Him.
Yeah, thank you, Nitinji.
Mhm.
Rahulji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yeah, there are multiple questions in the chat. The first one is from Ankurji. How do we go beyond Sattva?
So God is called Nirguna. He's called Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva means he is even beyond Sattva. Sattva is also binding. Right? We spoke about golden jail. Celestial abodes are golden jail. So if you do good karma, you will at best go to celestial abodes. So if you do a mix of good and bad, you repeat in Mrityulok, which is where we are. If you do really bad, you will go to nether regions. Right? So all three are binding. It's just a luxury jail if you do good job. But it is still a jail because even after becoming, let's say, a king of celestial abodes, you will still be subject to 8.4 million. You can again become an ant or a pig for that matter. But God is called Shuddha Sattva. He's even beyond these gunas. So the Shuddha Sattva is where you attach your mind to God. Right? Now we spoke about this concept of Karam Yoga in the past. So you could be doing a task with three consciousness. One is you could be doing it to hurt somebody, then it is tamasic. You could be doing to enjoy yourself, that could be rajasic. Right? We earn so that I can enjoy the next vacation, or I can treat myself because I deserve it, that is rajasic. But you could be doing sattvic. I can earn more so that I can give more and help people out, that could be sattvic. But you could be doing it for the pleasure of God, that okay, I'm doing it, and I want to offer it to your service, and building that consciousness. Thank you for giving me all the talents that you have given to me, and have that silent gratitude to God for working for His pleasure. Then it becomes nirguna. Right? Mother Teresa, I think she was asked that, why do you touch these despicable lepers? And she said, that is my means of serving Jesus. So now you could be serving people thinking I'm doing it, that becomes sattva. But if you are serving or making somebody eat food thinking, okay, thank you God for giving me this opportunity to serve them, then you are doing nirguna. So really depends on your consciousness. The act could be same. The thinking or the consciousness or the thought process or the intention behind it would determine whether it is sattvic, rajasic or nirguna. I hope it makes sense.
Yes. Probably we can take alternate questions, like one from the participant, and I can take from the chat.
Sure. Yeah.
And you can always put
Prashanta
in the feedback tracker as well, because we'll be picking it up in our sessions from here on. Any questions?
Yes. I have posted the link of feedback tracker also. Please feel free to put your comments, feedback, and questions in the feedback tracker. Next, we'll take Prashanta ji. Please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I have a couple of questions, Nitin ji. One thing is about dhyan, and another thing is about the duty. The thing that I have just mentioned, like the person gets born into another species or another thing and may go somewhere else. So what is the purpose of doing shraddha and all these things? If no one is taking us materially or spiritually to the next life or something, people, the children are still doing shraddha for their father or their mother. What is the purpose of doing that? That's my first question.
The shraddha and all that stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, right.
That is for our closure. We get a closure around it. Soul has already moved on in its journey. We do it, the 13-day ritual and all, that is more for our satisfaction than anything else, so that we get a closure. Soul has already departed and moved on in its journey. Okay. There's nothing we can do. There's no technology where you are serving them or making them eat or anything of that sort. Okay. These rituals are formed so that people get a closure in their head that, the person that we had formed that worldly association has departed on this journey. The soul has already moved on. This is only for the material people, for their own closure, nothing more than that.
But they repeat that every year, right? Every year at the same tithi or something. So what is the purpose?
You repeat it for 100 years, you can make it your focal point in life. You do it for 200 years, that's who's stopping you from doing that. But nobody in scripture say if you don't do that, your ancestors will not be fed food. Okay, nothing of that sort. It's more for the closure of the soul, nothing more than that. At least that's what I've heard.
Okay, now, okay. The next question is about dhyan. Okay, for example, if I'm doing my own work, if I'm studying or if I'm engrossed in my own work, I just forget everything around, everything else of this universe. I don't care what is going on.
Perfectly.
But if I sit down and do Rup Dhyan, start doing Rup Dhyan or something, then the things like lust, anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, all these things, in the form of thoughts, they start popping up. And the thing that happens to me is that, well, if I have done my work instead of being here, then it would have been quite fruitful, because I become more, more shaky when I just sit down and do Rup Dhyan or something.
What's the question?
Instead of doing my own.
Can you get to the question quickly, Prashanta?
So that's the question. What should I do? Should I do Rup Dhyan or something?
No, God is saying, he's not saying think about me. Okay, let's understand the Karma Yoga concept. The concept of Karma Yoga is no matter what you do, the attachment, there is an attachment, right? Should be to me. That itself makes you nirguna, right? For example, a mother is teaching students in school. Do you think for a moment she forgets she's a mother? Or if Prashanta is doing his work, do you for a moment forget that I'm Prashanta or so-and-so? That is the consciousness we have to eat. Rup Dhyan is a stepping stone to that. But eventually that consciousness has to be permanent, nirantar. Like Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmar Yuddhasya is the instruction that Lord Krishna gave, nirantarta. But it will come only with a repeated practice, right? So it's not something that Krishna is saying, think about me and forget your work. No, you do your work, but the attachment at the back of your mind should be to God, not to your... See, I'll give you a story, a simple, quick example, just to drive home the point. There is a guy who comes after a vacation, long vacation, back to his family, right? So when he comes to his family, his wife cooks food for him, good food for him, right? She's working, cooking food for him. The act is cooking food. Okay. And then he eats the food. He enjoys the food. Of course, he compliments her on the good food that she has prepared. Next day, his wife has some work and stuff like that. And the servant prepares the food. Okay. Servant prepares the food. He also does his work. He's also preparing the food. Wife also prepared the food. And this guy eats the food. He compliments him as well, that you prepared it well, I'm enjoying it after such a long time. Now, the act was the same in both the cases. Now, the testimonials both of them gave after the fact tells us what their thought process or consciousness was when they were preparing food. Wife, she told her neighbor, wow, my husband has come back. It's so good to feed him with love. And so she was actually doing it out of love. Her attachment was to her husband. Okay, when she was preparing food. Do you think because her attachment was to her husband, the food that was prepared, she put extra salt or extra sugar or salt instead of sugar and vice versa? No, she did it very diligently. But her attachment was to her husband. When the servant did that, he also did the same thing. When he went back home, he said, oh my God, my master has come and I had to work extra hours and prepare food for him. And I'm so glad now I can meet my kids back at home and play with them. His attachment was to his family and kids. Did he make bad food because his attachment was there? No. Both did the same work, but their attachment were to different things. Same thing God says, you do whatever you're doing with precision, with excellence. Keep your attachment to me. That is essentially what Karma Yoga is. Make sense?
Yeah, very well explained. Thank you, Nitinji.
Okay.
We'll take another hand. Urviji, please.
Yes, Urvi.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I wanted to ask that, like, if I sleep on time and still if I get up late, then that is being attached to tamasic happiness and indicates impurity of mind, right?
Yeah, right question to a wrong person. I must say that. I enjoy that tamogun so much myself. Okay, don't ask me this. Okay, sleep is something I don't know when I'll be able to conquer. I think I said in one of the sessions, I really worry I'll become a polar bear in next life. So it is a tamogod for sure, but one of the blisses in this world as well. But yeah, we need to moderate that because Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Yukta Haras. Basically, everything has to be done in moderation, what is needed. You calibrate it as per your need. Typically, as we progress, 6 to 8 hours is considered good. But when you, somebody like Swamiji, I think he can probably survive on 3 to 4 hours. I don't know. Maharajji, I don't know whether he was anywhere at a different level altogether. You calibrate it according to your body needs. Follow the body signal. But if you are doing it just for the sake of pleasure, then it becomes a problem. You are tapping into tamoguna. But your body will signal you. Are you adequately rested or not? Typically 6 to 8 hours are good, is what I hear. But you calibrate it and don't indulge in it just for the sake of pleasure. It's a tamas pleasure. Okay, if we continue to do that. But yeah, like I said, I myself struggle with it, so I don't have an authority to tell you, do it or don't do it. Okay, but I'm just telling you what Bhagavad Gita tells us around this concept.
Yeah.
Yes. Any more
Thank you,
questions?
Nitinji.
By the way, we have something exciting planned up. I think Sandhya is going to show us something and talk about some of the Seva stuff as well. Maybe 1 or 2 questions we can take. Remaining, you can put it in the feedback tracker. I can bring it to the session because we will continue this discussion. I wanted to share a few more things around it to conclude discussion. And again, I wanted to tell you that we will continue, in shlokas 410, 10 onwards from here on. We will not take a back gear. Rather, we will take up shlokas and reintroduce some of the key concepts that everybody needs to know so that we all evolve as a group and nothing fundamental is left behind, when we get into some of the advanced concepts as well. Okay, so this is how we will do so that you are getting both range and depth and not complain that, again, we are in chapter 2 and how many years it will take. So, okay. All right. Maybe 1 more question and then we move on to our next segment.
Can we please take Vikasji? I think he didn't get chance to.
Vikas, if you can, are you able to talk now?
Are you able to, Vikasji? I have unmuted
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Radhe Radhe.
So,
Yes,
yeah, Radhe Radhe.
sorry for keeping you on wait. Thank you so much.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Life is like that only.
Go ahead, please.
So you have to wait and have some patience. So my question is that how can we so sure that faith on the God, the mind will be clean? So is there any scientific, this is a fact now, so you're telling, but what is the scientific reason behind it?
Faith on God?
So on having a faith on the God and having the faith on the God, the mind will be clean. Because if you study Buddha, if you study Swami Vivekananda, they never told me, they never told describe there, any there, the chant Radhe Radhe. So my question is that only. Then chant Radhe Radhe or
Radhe Radhe,
attachment is the...
Swami Vivekananda during the last, see, every saint comes for a purpose, okay? And his purpose, his guru, Ramakrishna Paramhams, even though he was himself a devotee of Kali, the divine mother, he used to worship her. He said, your path is that of Nirguna Nirakar, because he knew that he will be preaching this in US and those people to introduce form and devotion will be too much for them. So Swami Vivekananda came for an express purpose. But if you read his autobiography and understand, towards the end of his last 6 months, he was actually practicing worship of Divine Mother. Although what he preached was Nirguna Nirakar, right? So if you are saying Radhe Radhe, the point here is again the saints have said, right? Mara Mara, if Valmiki can transform his life, okay, Radhe Radhe, we have spoken about the theory behind it as well, because God said that I have put all my Shaktis in my name, right? And Radha and Krishna, Aditya Ek Tattva hai, again going back to the theory, both are same, Shakti Shaktiman Sambandh. So when you say Ramesh Ramesh or water water will not quench your thirst. You do Radhe Radhe and see what happens. What kind of thirst it will quench for you. Just practice it, na? The proof is in the
I have just a doubt. Why only this term, only not other?
Proof is in the pudding. So if it is Shastra Sammat, if it is Sant Sammat, and if your guru tells us, and if you practice it and you see a benefit, that what else proof do you need in that, right? You don't need
one more question, sir. One more question. You told that attachment is the root cause of mind getting dirty. So if you remove the expectation, anger, and the greed from that attachment and the fear, then it will be very beautiful now.
It will be what? Sorry, I didn't get that.
It will be so like for if you just like I am. So my dream is to become an IS, to become IS. Let's say. So if I have attachment toward that, So, and remove the expectation from that ki, oh, it's okay, I will become or not, it's in a God hand. If you remove the expectation from that, and if you remove the anger कि अगर नहीं भी बना तो ठीक है, कुछ और कर लेंगे जिंदगी में, and the greed, लालच कि बनना ही है, तो अगर मतलब कि ठीक है, मतलब कुछ और कर लेंगे लाइफ में, वो सब है. तो अगर अटैचमेंट ही नहीं रहा तो मेरे को मजा कैसे आएगा मेरे को अपने ड्रीम्स अचीव करने.
No, the flip side of that is if you have an attachment, there are two possibilities, 50-50 law of probability as per mathematics, right? Then it will lead to falling into disappointment, anger. So that is why God says, like in Ramayana also, it says, right, in scriptures, they say, Swamiji is beautifully said that priyatn mein savdhani, phal mein santushti. So do things as if everything depends on you. But when it comes to result, leave it, because it's in God's hands. Right? So that does not absolve you from your effort. You would still put in your best. It's like everything is dependent on you. That is how you work. That is the science of work. But when it comes to the result, you have the humility to understand it is a factor. It is a function of so many other factors. Somebody might have worked harder than you, right? So many factors are there. And it could be part of, so then you simply accept it. That is called prasada buddhi. You don't have to be attached. Now you're putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, right? Your performance may go for a toss. So you put your best and leave to God the rest. That is the whole idea. Okay, let's move on. We can continue on this discussion. It's a very fascinating discussion. I think, Sandhya, we wanted to talk about some stuff as well today. We want to create some excitement for Shyamji or otherwise.
Yes, Radhe Radhe. Couple of things to show. So maybe first I'll show the Seva scoreboard and we'll introduce the Seva activities to everyone.
So by the way, our philosophical discussion ends now. We do a devotional segment, and any few things that we wanted to show you, you can stay back. You're welcome to stay back.
Yeah, so we have an ongoing Seva activities. So Seva stands for selfless, enthusiastic, Vinamra, and Ananya. So we have 4 teams, which basically are helping with the prachar of J.K. Oak's motto, which is to transform the world through wisdom. So in our minute ways, we are trying to help. So we have a wonderful team and we have a scoring system. So this is how our scoreboard looks like right now. Ananya team is on the top, and we know who is basically making this happen. Anita ji is like, in terms of her sharing the knowledge across, she is just flying high. Then we have Vinamra, led by Urvi and Sairam ji, enthusiastic team led by Monica ji, selfless team led by Shyam ji. So kudos to all the team members as well as the leads. A lot to catch up, and at the same time we wanted to introduce a new Seva activity, which is something that all of us should be doing irrespective of anything else. So Rahul ji will share that in the chat as well. This is regarding YouTube videos of Swamiji. So we all should try and commit to watch 1 video per day and like it and comment it. So that this way the information, this higher probability that it will reach out to many more people. And that's the whole purpose. And in this process, we will also watch 1 video and learn something new out of it. And in order to comment, we would have seen it, internalize something, and then we will comment genuinely. So
Let
that
me
will
add
also
some theory to it as well. So it is said that the rin or the debt from Guru is something a soul can never repay. No matter what, even if we offer our life back to our Guru, we cannot repay that debt. And this is a small way to repay that debt, where, the knowledge, immense ocean of knowledge that Swamiji has presented to us, if we can help somebody else with that. And I have seen so many testimonials from people where they say, you know what, I was just doing something, I don't know where my life was leading me to, until I came across this video from Swamiji, which said, if you watch this, you will stop wasting your life. Similarly, there are so many such videos where people have just seen it once and their trajectory of life has changed. And you could become an instrument in that. So take up this seva. This everybody can do. You could watch a video, share, like, comment. You don't know whose life it might transform. And that is a little way to pay a debt, part of a drop of that debt that we have acquired through our guru this precious knowledge that will, give a huge jump to our soul in the lifetimes to come. So take on the seva more like a privilege than an obligation, I would say. Not everybody gets that privilege, and we have 4 teams. Like Sandhya pointed out, if you want to join, put it in the feedback tracker. We'll be happy to do that, but we'll share it with an ongoing basis where you can, do that. Well, just watch a video, share, comment, and that's all is needed. That'll go a long way. Thank you, Sandhya. Anything else you wanted to add?
Just to add, like, kudos to some, like, I just wanted to highlight some of the people here for likes, Prabhatji, for sharing, Anita ji, for comments, Samji, community portal, Jyoti ji, and Manthan Seva Lakshmi Prasanna ji. So we have different people leading in different aspects of seva, and many people are picking up.
Going forward, let's socialize it on a weekly basis so that we know who all are performing, and let's keep each other motivated. I think we spoke about this budding up concept. You don't have to reach out to everybody. Just pick up one person, you say, hey, are you doing it? And that should be good enough. And you can rotate buddies. So I'd leave it up to you for that. All right. What else are we seeing then? Oh, amazing. Oh, amazing.
Yes. So we just had an amazing blissful family camp, which concluded. And there were many people whom you can, I think, find familiar faces. Who are attending our Bhagavad Gita classes, are part of the Bhagavad Gita family, and could also come in person to attend the family camp. There are more people who were present but couldn't be captured in the pictures. But yeah, so I think you can identify faces. Probably I will not get into the detail or naming them. And yeah, we got a chance to also get clicked with Swamiji as a group. So that was also a big fortune.
I can recognize Aparna ji, Amrutavani ji, Sairam ji, Monica ji, Nilesh ji.
And his cute son also, Kian.
I don't know how many high fives he gave us, but yeah, it was very nice meeting all of you in person, and look forward to many more family camps together. And Shyamji, you got to show up in your picture next year, no matter what. We don't leave you a choice now. Okay. Please do.
Here's a big surprise to everyone. Can you
Yes.
identify this
I'm
person?
telling you, people, yeah, so this is our, oh my God. I don't know who the bearded guy is, but it was a fun act for sure. By the way, we happened to participate in JKO Idol. The preparation was much more fun than the act itself, and Monica ji will tell you who won the JKO Idol, okay, and what all was done basically. So great. And we have Shashank. I think he's there in the session. By the way, if you see the guy on the...
Actually, we did not know at that time, but we had past Bhagavad Gita participants who are already attending and to be joining, which started joining since yesterday. So the Bhagavad Gita family has also been expanded since this JKO Idol happened, I think.
Yeah, welcome everybody who's started joining in since we had our JKO Idol and family camp. So welcome everybody to the session. Hope you find it meaningful. Please keep providing your feedback, and anything, feel free to reach out in feedback tracker or otherwise. More than happy to answer questions for you and bring things to the presentations and sessions that might be helpful for everyone. So thank you.
This last thing, if you haven't been able to figure out, that guy with the beard was actually a person who has copyrighted the role of Swamiji. Whenever any act happens at in the JKO Idol and someone has to become Swamiji, that is Nitinji who takes up that role and does it amazingly well, which is what he did this time as well. So beyond this, I think I won't say anything. I think Shyamji had raised his hand. He wanted to.
Oh, sure. I'd love to hear from Shyamji. But yeah, I've been pushing my luck with doing this act. I don't know how long Swamiji will continue to tolerate me, but for now, I'm okay. Yes, Shyamji, you wanted to say something?
राधे राधे।
Please go
संध्या,
ahead.
मेरी फोटो किसी में भी नहीं आई नितिन जी। And at least somewhere you have put my photo with somebody. ना मेरे हाथ में आपका सर्टिफिकेट दिया, ऐसा मत करो ना। आपके साथ day one से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ, अगर आपको याद होगा तो।
You need to find a Photoshop expert unless you want to come in actually in reality next year. Okay, so I'm looking forward
with you from since day one. इतना तो you can do with me for me कि एक फोटो मेरी भी आप ग्रुप में with स्वामी जी in family camp This is third family camp which मैंने attend किया है बाहर से. हद हो गई ना भाई. It's too much now. Any which way, I appreciate that.
Neelam is going to go ahead, Shyamji. नहीं होगा. अगली बार आप next time आप आएंगे.
I'll be there with all of you. Same time, same place.
Yes, we look forward to having you here next time. और आप हमारी टीम में होंगे. Okay, JKO Idol, we will lift it together. Don't worry.
Thank you so much, bhai. Radhe Radhe. Thank you so much.
Yes, I saw Neelam ji raising her hand as well. Yeah, go ahead. Oh no, it's just thumbs up. Huh?
Kumar ji has raised his hand, and I think he was also planning to be here in person, but unfortunately at the last moment he couldn't come. So maybe he wants to say something.
Sure, Kumar ji, please go ahead. You want to say something? So Kavita, while you prepare for your Kavita, we can take maybe a couple of hands and then get into our devotional segment. Maybe a couple of participants we can take because it's already 15 minutes over. You wanted to say something?
Yeah,
Marji, please go.
Yeah, Jai Shri Ram. So yes, I had already registered for coming there and all that stuff, and then things happened, some health issues and all that stuff. Everything is okay now, but unfortunately I could not. But I did hear all Swamiji's lectures, which are great. Just want to have a quick question. Usually Swamiji, for online participants, he has a separate meeting with them.
Kumarji, he did have it yesterday. I don't know how you missed it or why you missed it. There was.
Is it recorded? At least
that is out of syllabus for me. Okay, that's something. But he
okay.
did have. Okay, so you know.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't get any notification, but okay, I'll check with those people then. Thanks so much. Yeah, I have one question though, and probably we can discuss it tomorrow. Like persons who eat meat, will they come in with a different species in their next life?
I don't know about that. Okay, that's a good question because we have to ask God about that. All I know is it says that Jaisa an vaisa man, it is not conducive for your spiritual journey, is what is it being told. Having said that, what you put in here is far more important than what you put in here. So it's a very controversial topic, sensitive topic as well. I don't know. Basically, there are enough stories in our scriptures to suggest you can make whatever you want to make out of it, right? If your mind goes to let's say a smell of chicken or something like that while you are departing, then you may become a lion or a tiger. Okay, those kind of stories are there as well. So we just got to be careful about our choices because it could lead us to anywhere. And especially when it comes to the diet aspect of it, when we get into that chapter where God is talking about sattvic foods, definitely meat is not referred to as a sattvic food there. Okay.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Bam bam bole. All we need is Chandi ke gole. Okay, let's move on. Yes, Laddu, you want to sing today, or anybody who wants to? Kavita wanted to recite a Kavita today. Are you going to sing as well, Seema? All right, let's have a few.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Seema ji. Now we have started.
With his hat upside down with his rap today. But Kavita, are you going to recite your Kavita as well? Okay, cool. So let's have Seema and Kavita and then.
Okay, Radhe Radhe Bhaiya, Radhe Radhe Pallavi ji, Radhe Radhe everybody. Bhaiya, I'll just say 2 lines before this bhajan and then I'll just continue singing it. Okay. देख नजारा मौसम का मन को कितना भाता है जब सावन स्वयं चलकर महादेव को जल चढ़ाने आता है नाम
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. नाम है मेरा मुरलीधारी सर पे गंगा तूने उतारी छलिया मैं हूँ छलते हो तुम भंग के नशे में रहते हो तुम ही तो मेरे ओमकार तुम ही तो मेरे महाकाल क्यों फिर तुमसे है दूरी क्यों फिर तुमसे है दूरी ओ मेरे शंभू ओ मेरे शंकरा दे दो दर्शन ओ मेरे शंकरा ओ मेरे शंभू ओ मेरे शंकरा दे दो दर्शन ओ मेरे शंकरा मेरे रोम रोम में तेरा नाम लिखा है, तेरे अंतर मन में हरि नाम बसा है। मेरे रोम रोम में तेरा नाम लिखा है, तेरे अंतर मन में हरि नाम बसा है। बंसी बजा के तुझको रिझाऊं या फिर मैं खुद विष पी जाऊं, कह दो मेरे नीलकंठ, अब कह दो मेरे शंकरा, ओ मेरे शंभू, ओ मेरे शंकरा, दे दो दर्शन, ओ मेरे शंकरा, ओ मेरे शंभू, ओ मेरे शंकरा, दे दो दर्शन, ओ मेरे शंकरा. Thank you.
Very nice, Seema. Beautiful. So many hearts coming your way. I think if there is anybody or there are people who can make Shambhuji descend from Kailash, one of them is you. Okay, so keep it up.
भैया थैंक यू भैया। ऑनेस्टली मेरा बस चले तो मैं महादेव पे अपना कॉपीराइट बनवा लूं पर होगा नहीं, नॉट पॉसिबल।
Very nice. Keep
Thank
up
you,
your efforts, Seema. Very nice. आपका
राधे
राधे राधे।
थैंक यू सीमा जी, वंडरफुल ब्यूटीफुल भजन, बहुत ही सुंदर भजन गाया आपने।
And hope you're being a good nanny to Arya. Okay, and hope we can see you at least for a week here, but I leave it up to you. We'll talk. Very nice.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Kavita,
see Vikas ji's hand raised.
we can have Kavita. Okay, Kavita first. Okay, go ahead, Kavita.
Kavita ji,
Kavita wanted to recite a Kavita and then we can go.
yes,
And then,
Kavita ji, let me find her. Yes.
I see Sairam ji as well. Thank you for turning on your video, Sairam ji. We can make it out in the mask. Your act was phenomenal, by the way. You know, we needed to wear masks there. We did not do that. So I don't know. We all were exposed, super exposed to COVID. But okay, everybody's fine, doing fine now. Yes, go ahead, Kavita.
Kavita ji,
राधे राधे everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
शाम जी, फोटो जो आपकी एडिट करनी थी वो मैं कर दूंगी, आप, मैं और स्वामी जी, और बस क्योंकि हम ही नहीं है उस फोटो में।
अच्छा,
मुझे भी ऐड कर लो।
हाँ, I'll do that. So it's a very short kavita written by Nikhil Pandya. ना कौरवों के साथ हूँ ना पांडवों का यार हूँ, मैं करुणा और प्यार हूँ, मैं धर्म का आधार हूँ। भीष्म की प्रतिज्ञा हूँ तो द्रोण की परीक्षा हूँ, कर्ण का सामर्थ्य हूँ तो अर्जुन का भी मैं ज्ञान हूँ। धृतराष्ट्र सा अंध हूँ पर गांधारी का त्याग हूँ, शकुनी का सारा छल हूँ तो द्यूत का खेल भी हूँ। शिखंडी का प्रतिशोध हूँ तो द्रौपदी का क्रोध हूँ मैं, दुशासन का दुष्कर्म हूँ तो गीता का कर्म हूँ मैं। शून्य सा सर्वत्र हूँ, कल्प हूँ विकल्प हूँ, तर्क हूँ मैं मर्म हूँ, मैं वासुदेव कृष्ण हूँ।
Wow. Did you compose it or where did you get
No, YouTube.
Very nice. I like that Dude Ka Khel or even Shakuni, all the strength that he had, that intellect is him only, right? If he had not energized him, but yeah, very nicely. Beautiful. Good. Keep bringing these beautiful nuggets to our session. Thank you so much, Kavita. And I know you have 5 more to go. One at a time. Great. Are you all ready for Rahe Aap Pareshan rap from Vikas? Go ahead, Vikas.
Yeah, कविता जी, बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल कविता आपने रिसाइट की, थैंक यू फॉर दैट।
Kavita is truly living up to her name, so keep it up, Kavita. Very
Vikas
nice.
ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe to all of you. So I am not doing today the rap, so I shifted to the Radha Kaise Na Jale.
Oh my.
Oh.
Go ahead.
So before that, I have some शायरी to all of you. सितारों को आंखों में महफूज रखना, बड़ी देर तक रात ही रात होगी, मुसाफिर है हम भी, मुसाफिर हो तुम भी, फिर किसी मोड़ पे मुलाकात हो।
Wow.
So now we can proceed to the Radha Kaise Na Jale. मधुबन में जो, so I'm not good at singing.
Your mother, your mom and dad are not going to freak out, right? Looking at you reciting.
No, I am just get freedom. That's what you tell na ki what's the freedom is to
Go ahead.
detach from everything.
Yes. Go ahead.
That's what I am.
Yes. Go ahead.
So yeah. So if there is some restriction, then there is no freedom now. So
go ahead with your act.
Yeah. So मधुवन में जो कन्हैया किसी गोपी से मिले, कभी मुस्कुराए, कभी छेड़े, कभी बात करे, राधा कैसे न जले, राधा कैसे न जले, आग तनमन में लगे, राधा कैसे न जले.
This is from Lagan movie, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So I need some. So गोपिया तारे है, चांद है राधा, फिर क्यों है उसका विश्वास आधा. कान्हा जी का जो सदा इधर उधर ध्यान रहे, राधा बेचारी को फिर अपने पे क्या मान रहे. गोपिया आनी जानी है, राधा तो मन की रानी है. सांझ सवारे जमुना किनारे, राधा की कान्हा पुकारे. ओए होए बाहों के हार जो डाले, कोई कान्हा के गले, राधा कैसे न जले, आग तनमन में लगे, राधा कैसे न जले.
Very nice, Vikas. Very nice. I thought I had heard this song, I think, in the past, but
You heard. So I used to rap songs, but don't used to sing songs. So that's where I will achieve on that.
See, you started by asking a question: what is the proof, scientific proof of doing Radhe Radhe, and you ended up with actually singing or reciting the lines. It was a very good transformation. So go for it. So you need to fill the rest of your day with Radhe Radhe, right? Like we spoke. So let me know how that goes, okay? The proof is in the pudding itself.
So मन में है राधा को कान्हा जो बसाए, तो कान्हा काहे को उसे न बताए. प्रेम की अपनी अलग बोली, अलग भाषा है. बात नैनो से हो, कान्हा को ही यही आशा है. कान्हा के ये जो नैना है, जिसमें गोपियों के चैना है. मिली नजरिया हुई बावरिया, गोरी सी कोई गुजरिया. गोरी सी कान्हा का प्यार किसी गोपियों को मन में जो पले. ठीक है सर, it's done from my side.
No, that's good. Was it Lagan 2 or Lagan 1 only?
It's Lagan 1. Lagan 2 has not yet released.
Okay, you can continue. I think let's see. I think there may be a couple of hands, but thank you, Vikas. I think it was very nice. You bringing out the lyrics. Always a pleasure. So we'll continue on that. You can do that. Finish it off tomorrow. So thank you again. Yes, Monica ji, you wanted to go
Thank you, Vikas ji.
We have 2 more hands, so we can pick up.
Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, everybody. Vikas ji, very nice transition from rap to sort of Gana bhajan, but then Bollywood थोड़ी हमेशा mistake कर देता है. Just wanted to correct little thing there. गोपियां आनी जानी नहीं है, वो बॉलीवुड के काम होते हैं करने वाले. हम सब गोपियां कोई आनी जानी नहीं है. We are like permanent with Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Vikas, we'll continue to discuss this concept in more detail, but thank you. You actually took the trouble of pulling out those lyrics and reciting it, which is commendable. So thank you for that. Okay, thank you, Monica ji, for pointing out the technicality around it. We are Shastra Sammat from here on. Mahi, you wanted something?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Mahi ji, please go ahead.
Last hand for the day. I know we are
today,
but it has been after a long time. So.
Radhe Radhe, Mahi ji, please go ahead.
I just want to sing 2 lines that is related to Radha and Krishna both.
Sure, go ahead, Mahi.
Okay, the line starts from this slide. Soja lala sunave meethi loriya teri Yashoda Maiya. Soja lala sunave meethi loriya teri Yashoda Maiya. Soja lala sunave meethi loriya teri Yashoda Maiya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahi. Thank you for reciting these powerful lines. Although you were choking while you were singing, but you are one of the fortunate ones who can feel overwhelmed and can shed tears for God. Okay, a lot of people would be more than happy to trade positions with you. So keep up that thing, and thank you for coming out and reciting it in our session. Always a pleasure to hear from you, and thanks again. I think you're very well. Anybody wanted to say anything before we wrap up our session today? Yeah, Sandhya, go ahead.
Just wanted to say one thing for Mahi. She is just a little school going girl and she takes care of her Laddu Gopal all the time. And it must have been evident to all of you that it is one of our efforts to make her Laddu Gopal sleep right. Her bhav are super, super, super inspiring for each one of us. So lots of hugs and love to you, Mahi. Keep it up. And yes, your Kahana will listen to you every time.
No, it takes a lot of purity and a lot of bhakti that you would have done in this life and past lives to get to this stage where you can build such kind of an emotional, connect with God, where you can shed tears and feel as if, you are interacting with God. So keep it up. Honor to have you on our sessions, Mahi. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's session. We will continue on this journey tomorrow. Talk a little more stuff around this concept that we are talking about. But like I said, we will keep on progressing shloka by shloka, verse by verse, and keep on talking about the key concepts as they present. Anything else that comes to your mind or you want to share, you can put it in the feedback tracker as well. So thank you again, everybody. Radhe Radhe. Good night, good day from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nitinji, as always. And thanks to all of you for your wonderful, enthusiastic participation. Stay blessed.
Radhe Radhe.